Today we'll be doing a session on a resource called OverDrive at Lehigh University that we brought to the libraries about 2 years ago, and we're excited to tell you a little bit more about it. So my name's Phil Hewitt, and I'm a librarian at the Lehigh University Libraries. I work as liaison to the Engineering College, and I also do some work with our collections. And I'm joined here today by my colleague, Erin. If you want to introduce yourself, Erin.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Erin Clavier, and I'm an acquisitions and library assistant. I'm going to place a link to the slides in the chat if you would like to access in the future. There are some helpful links throughout that will help you get set up in OverDrive.
Great, thanks for sharing that, Erin. Okay, so here's our agenda for today. We're going to do a quick poll to get things moving a little bit, and so we can learn about whether you've used OverDrive before, what you like to read, and a few different topics. Then we'll review what OverDrive is with a specific focus on our collections that we've built so far and how to make recommendations. Then it'll move to Erin, and she'll introduce how to use OverDrive. There's a few different ways to do that on the website or an app called the Libby app with your device, like an e-reader, and go over some of the policies on the back end about how many books you can borrow, how many holds you can make, and things like that. Finally, we'll close with some notes about accessing OverDrive from other libraries, and also do a quick rundown of some other library services that you might be interested in. And this will be real informal, so if anybody has questions throughout, please let us know. I'm sure Erin and I would both be happy to be interrupted. So, so I'm going to launch the poll now, and some of the questions here will be: have you ever used OverDrive before? Do you read ebooks and or listen to audiobooks? If you read ebooks, what type of device do you read them on most frequently? And what genres of books do you like to read or listen to? And if your genre that you prefer reading, the type of book that you prefer reading isn't on that poll, just feel free to enter it in the chat what you like to read most frequently. And it should have worked, so I just launched it. Can everybody see the poll okay? Cool, thanks, Carla. I guess I can't answer the poll, but I'll answer my questions. I use OverDrive at both Lehigh and my local public library, the Easton Public Library, and the Free Library of Philadelphia. I read ebooks and I listen to audiobooks. A lot of times driving in, I'll listen to audiobooks. And I usually read on my Kindle device when I do read them. And the genres I read a lot, I kind of vacillate between nonfiction and like sci-fi and fantasy. So, and we have some answers rolling in here, which is great. I think I'm gonna try to end the poll and share the results so we can all look at it together. So have you used OverDrive before? Yes, 2 people have at their public library, 4 people have both at Lehigh and at their public library, and 2 people might be new to it. So that's great. Do you read ebooks and or listen to audiobooks? It looks like 4 people just read ebooks, 2 people just listen to audiobooks, and 2 do both. So that's cool. Everybody kind of partakes in those types of interacting with books, which is great. And where do people read ebooks on most frequently? 2 people said their computer, 1 said their smartphone, 1 said their Kindle, 2 have other e-readers, and 2 don't read ebooks. What genres of books do people read most frequently? A lot of literary fiction, which is great, literature, fun to read. A lot of biography and memoir, and then some also poetry, history, historical fiction, and other nonfiction as well. Cool, thanks for sharing that. I always love seeing that kind of information, so thank you. And moving on here. Did I skip a page? Oh, here we go. Yeah, sorry about that. So what is OverDrive? It's an easy to use platform for accessing ebooks and audiobooks across many devices. So you can use it on, you can send books to your Kindle, to other e-readers, read on your computer and your smartphone. Our focus with this collection really has been on making books available from authors with identities underrepresented in our current collection. So after the social uprisings around racism in the summer of 2020, we really identified this platform as a way to make sure we were contributing to the discussion around anti-racism and also representing stories that we hadn't been previously in our collection. So it's been a really successful program for us. Over the last 2 years, we've had more than 400 Lehigh users, and they've checked out more than 1,700 titles. So really happy that it's a resource that people have been using, and hope you'll use it in the future too. More about the collection. Currently, we have more than 450 ebooks and 175 audiobooks, and we really build them into, a lot of times, into specific collections. We've had a focus on Heritage and Affinity months. So we've built collections for Pride Month in June, Jewish American History Month in May, and AAPI, Asian American and Pacific Islander Month in May as well, Arab American Heritage Month in April, and Native American, I think, is November, and Hispanic and Latinx, I believe I think it spans half of September and October. So we have, and you have access to these slides, and you can check out all of those collections by clicking on those links. We also have a Black Voices series, which includes the Black Lives Matter reading list and Stories of Black Excellence. They kind of tackle two different topics. The Black Lives Matter reading list tackling things around racism and anti-racism, and the Stories of Black Excellence really to celebrate contributions and artistic endeavors by Black, mainly Americans. And other collections we have include Women's History Month, National Poetry Month, Educational Justice Collection, and a children's collection around multicultural holidays. We really appreciate recommendations as well. That's one way that we've been able to add some really cool books. You can make recommendations for the collection in two ways. You can do it anonymously through the site. So if you search for the book and we don't have it, there will be a recommend button that you can click, and that'll be a way to, it's showed there on the image here on the screen. And we'll get that on the backside, and we'll kind of process through those every couple of months and try to purchase that book for you if it fits the criteria for the collection. If we do buy it, it will be placed on hold for you, and you'll be emailed to be notified about the availability of that title. You can also just email Erin or me directly and say, hey, these are some books I'm interested. Could you look into adding them? And we'd be happy to do that. And then if we do add them, we could email you back and let you know right away when we do that. Or if we're able to add them through another resource like in print or through another ebook platform, we could also let you know about that as well. Alternatives, not everything is going to be available to be purchased with this collection because of the specific focus of it, and also because of just general fund availability. But there are some great alternatives through the Free Library of Philadelphia or your local public library. And those have been great for accessing a lot of different types of books for me as well. Okay, and before I transition it over to Erin here, are there any questions about the collections or making recommendations? Okay, great. Erin, if you want to take over from here.
Sure. All right, thanks, Phil. So Phil just went over making recommendations by clicking recommend within OverDrive or by emailing us. I also wanted to point out that working on the OverDrive collection provides opportunities to connect with departments outside of LTS on campus. This year, we received title recommendations from the Center for Gender Equity for Women's History Month. We also received title recommendations from the Pride Center for Transgender Day of Visibility And we distributed informational bookmarks to the Taylor Gym because we thought gym users may want to borrow audiobooks to listen while working out. So now I'm going to walk through getting set up with OverDrive. And if you have additional questions or you want to talk about setting up a specific device, we'll also have time at the end for questions. Reminder that you have access to this presentation via the link that we shared. And as an overview, we are going to look at getting set up with OverDrive on your computer, with the Libby app, and with various e-reading devices. So let's start with using OverDrive on your computer. If you have never used OverDrive before, navigate to lehigh.overdrive.com. And once you are there, you will see the Lehigh logo at the top of the page, which tells you you're accessing Lehigh's OverDrive collection. Also at the top of the page will be the highlighted collection that month. And for May, we are celebrating both Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month and Jewish American Heritage Month. If you click See All, you will be able to see the full list from those individual collections. On this homepage, you can search for a specific title using the search feature. You can also browse the collection. You can browse by subjects, or browse by the collections menu, or simply scroll down on the homepage to browse our curated collections. So to set up your account, we recommend you start with this method. Go to lehigh.overdrive.com, click the blue sign-in link in the top right corner, log in with your Lehigh credentials when prompted, and once that account is created, you will be able to select a title and check it out. So this is how to get started using OverDrive on your computer or laptop, and you can also access it by using the Libby app. If you are interested in reading OverDrive ebooks and audiobooks on your phone or other mobile devices where you can install the Libby app, start by downloading the app to your device, and Libby will guide you through the process. So go to your app store, search Libby, install the app. It will ask you if you have a library card, say yes, and next you would search for our library by typing in Lehigh University. On the next screen, you would click Sign in with my card, and then you will sign in using your Lehigh credentials. Both of these methods, creating an account via your computer or installing the Libby app to your device, only takes a minute or two. Please feel free to try either or both of these methods today during our presentation. So there are various devices that can pair with OverDrive. For example, Kindle, Nook, Apple devices, Androids, and Chromebooks. OverDrive provides detailed instructions on how to install on these devices, and those instructions are linked here. And if you run into any trouble, we invite you to contact Phil or myself, and we will help you to troubleshoot. When it comes to OverDrive policies, you can borrow up to 3 ebooks or audiobooks at a time. When you're checking out, you will be able to choose whether you want to borrow the item for 7, 14, or 21 days. And if you would like to place a hold on a book that has a waiting list, you can place up to 3 holds at a time. And once the title is ready to be checked out, you'll receive a notification email that is ready, and the system gives you 3 days to complete the checkout. And lastly, OverDrive saves your borrowing history, but this can be changed in the settings. As Phil had mentioned, the focus of Lehigh's OverDrive collection is making books available from authors with identities underrepresented in our current collection. So building the OverDrive collection has a specific diversity, inclusion, and equity focus. So if you are searching for a title to read that is outside of this focus, we recommend checking your local public library to see what e-reading service they provide. It may be OverDrive or it may be Cloud Library, which is what my home library uses. The other option is to sign up for a library card online from the Free Library of Philadelphia. Anyone who lives in the state of Pennsylvania can get a free library card. Once you sign up for the card, you can access their OverDrive collection, which offers a huge selection, although it is good to note that you may experience longer wait lists for more popular titles. And within the Libby app, you can add multiple library cards to your account under the Your Library section. And now I'll hand it back over to Phil, who will go over other services provided by Lehigh Libraries.
Thanks, Erin. Any questions about using OverDrive? Any questions before I move into this about using it with a specific device or?
I just wanted to say thank you. I am all set up with Libby and I'm super excited.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, great instructions. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just found out yesterday, you can also use it. You can use it on your browser too, libbyapp.com, which if you want that same kind of look and feel, you don't want to go across two different interfaces, you can also use it from your computer that way too. There's just a method to link it up to your phone, but it's not too terrible. But yeah, just discovered that yesterday. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure, what's up?
The difference between Libby and OverDrive. I've been with OverDrive for years. I tried Libby and I can't remember why I didn't like it, but I have 3 libraries on OverDrive. So I'm just curious what a preference would be on your side.
Like which interface and app?
Yes.
Or yeah,
I did hear OverDrive is being faded out and everyone has to move to Libby.
Yeah, they sunset. They are sunsetting the OverDrive like mobile app. I think the interface, like the lehigh.edu.overdrive.com interface will still look like that for a long time. Yeah, I always kind of like the OverDrive app a little bit better on my phone, but I'm starting to get used to the Libby app. One tip with using the Libby app that I found is in settings, there's a way to label the different icons that are at the bottom of it, because I found those icons a little bit confusing. So once I did that, I got a little bit more comfortable with what was where. So maybe that'll help with using the Libby app. But overall, yeah, I've been using kind of the OverDrive interface for a long time. So if you're looking like specifically at Lehigh's collection, I would probably go to lehigh.overdrive.com. That's pretty much the easiest way to browse our collection. If you're looking to kind of quickly look between multiple different libraries, then using Libby either on your phone or at the libbyapp.com website might be helpful. And I found like even using the libbyapp.com site kind of helped me get used to the interface a little bit more when I was using the Libby app. So that might be something to try out as well.
Okay, I'll switch when I have to.
Yeah,
I do
right.
think it was trying to figure out what book from what library was my issue with Libby.
Yep, it's a little bit confusing. Having a little bit more space with the libbyapp.com, not being so confined to your phone might be a better way to get used to that. But yeah, I agree.
I live with ebooks on my phone, so that's what I do.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sure, thanks, Diane. Great question. Any other questions? Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. So we'll close out with talking about some other library services. Pictured here, what we're starting to do in the Linderman Library is to try to have some physical displays of books that are related to the Affinity or Heritage Months that we're highlighting with OverDrive. So Erin did a really great job putting together this display for the Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And it's nice because we can't always get everything from the OverDrive app. Sometimes they're too expensive or they expire after a certain amount of time. So we like to kind of build these collections both in print and through kind of ebooks and audiobooks. So if there's ever something, if you kind of just are walking through the beautiful Linderman Library, kind of in the reading room on the main floor, we're going to start to try to highlight highlight different parts of our collection. So just a reminder that we have physical books as well. I think, sometimes we forgot through the pandemic, like, there is a physical library there too. Over the last couple of years, we've also added a lot of online access to news through the New York Times. We have direct subscriptions to the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal. For the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, that also includes access to their mobile apps. So, if those are sites that you go to a lot and you don't feel like paying the subscription, we have that covered for you. And if you have any questions about that, at this access to news hyperlink here, there's actually a full slideshow about accessing some of those resources. We also have the Chronicle for Higher Education, The Economist, and a lot of other news type resources as well. We have research guides that cover different topics about specific library resources related to specific subjects. We have a lot of streaming video in the collection as well, and these links will take you to those resources. As an academic library, we have a ton of academic journal subscriptions and access to some pretty cool databases, kind of your standard ones for looking at the technical or the academic literature, but a lot of cool ones around data sources and other types of resources as well. We do the libraries and technology services. We do give seminars about different topics. So that'll be things ranging from access to news to how to use Google Drive, a lot of different topics with really helpful presenters. So I wanted to highlight that as well. And for skill building, kind of related to this as well, there's a great tool, LinkedIn Learning, that you can use to learn via video. It used to be called like lynda.com, and then LinkedIn bought it, and we provide access to that for everyone at Lehigh as well. And there's also a collection of ebooks, audiobooks, and some videos called O'Reilly for Higher Education that has kind of a specific focus on, what's the right word, computer science and coding and programming and things like that, as well as business topics. And they also have a lot of audiobooks in there that we just recently discovered as well. Over 1,000 audiobooks in there with good titles like related to career development and business topics. Finally, last couple of things here. We do have special collections at Lehigh University. We have a lot of really great rare books that you can check out, whether they're first editions or just rare copies of older works, or special kind of unique collections are related to things like zines and other collections that are really neat that you can schedule to visit. And we also, the special collections department also handles the Lehigh archives. So if you ever have questions about, the history of Lehigh, documents related to that, they're able to help you as well. And finally, just a link to your reference librarians. If you ever have questions about research or anything like that, we're happy to help as well. Any questions about any of those resources? Cool. Well, thanks everyone. If you have any other questions, let us know now. If not, I really appreciate your time today and hope that you are able to check out the OverDrive resource, and happy reading and listening.
Thank you. It was a great presentation.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Carla.
Yep, thank you for joining us. I'm actually going to put a link to LTS social media in the chat. So if you aren't following the social media pages, you can find that there, including Special Collections Facebook, Instagram, Twitter pages.